What's going on, everybody? This is your boy B&B, Black Man Boating. I am your host of the B&B Show. Today, man, we're going to talk about President Donald Trump. We're also going to talk about one of his picks, man. We're going to talk about the brother Kash Patel. Man, people are excited about this dude, either in a good way or a bad way, man. They either in shambles or they're elated. We about to find out. Like I've already told you guys, I never really had much of an interest in politics. What brings me here is the malfeasance in the stock market corruption, stock market manipulation, illegal naked short selling of some of my favorite stocks, allegedly, supposedly, right? Well, I saw that it was all interconnected. Politics, um, corporations, Wall Street, all of it is commingled, and that's what brings me here. That's why I'm over here talking about, of course, my favorite movie theater, AMC, and I'm over here talking about what's going on in politics, man, and why people are in shambles in one regard, and some people are just very excited in another regard. So yeah, man. We're gonna talk about Kash Patel. We're gonna learn today. You don't know nothing about Kash Patel? Well, we're gonna learn today because I don't know much about Kash Patel at all. But I want to learn. If people are going to praise this man, if people are going to criticize this man, and this man is going to be in a place of power, especially like the director of the FBI, I want to know about him. Okay. At one point in my life, I did not care. I didn't care about politics. I didn't care about what was going on. All I cared about was me and my family, and if we were doing well, and my friends in our life family. As long as we was all doing well, I'm good. I got into this play called GME, which led me to AMC and HYMC, and it led me to a lot of education on the stock market being nefarious, the people, the people being nefarious in the stock market, and why they're allowed to be nefarious. It just the rabbit hole gets deeper and deeper, and your thirst for learning just continues. Right? There's so many people that's in the fight, and we just want to continue to learn and understand. The more information you have, the more you understand, the better informed you can be. You can see how everything is connected and how one situation affects another. I mean, you're seeing people from the SEC that's retiring because of what's coming in. And we think, a lot of us think, that Donald Trump, DJT, the people that he's put in place, a lot of these people have something in common, and that thing is to fight crime, to fight corruption. And there's a lot of people that are upset about it. Why are you so upset about people wanting to fight crime? We want that because we allegedly are victims of it in the stock market. So of course, we want a bunch of crime fighters that's going to eradicate. It's time. We need to eradicate the malfeasance in our government, in our everyday lives, and with the food that we eat, the dealings that we have abroad, and what's going on in Wall Street. It's about time. This is what people voted for. You want to know what people voted for? They voted for change, but they've also voted for change in the corruption that has been allowed. We are tired. We are tired of the people that are supposed to be held to a higher standard, right? Like it's like us regular schmegular people. We're held to a higher standard. We're the ones that's abiding the law, doing things the right way, and we stay in a situation long enough to discover, wait a minute, the very people that's supposed to be upholding the law seems to be benefiting from the law being broken. This is a problem. Okay, it goes beyond the stock market. There's so many things in our everyday life that's affected by criminal people in positions where they can actually affect outcomes. Okay, if for example, if President Trump thinks the Department of Justice and the FBI was weaponized, well, why wouldn't he put people in place that he feels are going to do the job, one, two, that are going to be loyal and not undermine him? If we want, if we as citizens want the corruption to stop, that's a good thing. And if you're opposed to the corruption stopping, then you must be compromised. You must be benefiting from the crime, allegedly, the alleged crime. Well, if people is this excited, maybe it's not allegedly no more. So let's take a look, man. Let's take a look at the brother Kash Patel.
Tonight, there's some controversy surrounding President-elect Trump's pick to run the FBI. Kash Patel, he's been a loyal Trump supporter for years, and now he could become the chief of the bureau he vowed to gut. Who is he, and what does this mean for a position that's traditionally been apolitical? Our Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas reports.
President-elect Donald Trump making good on his campaign pledge, calling for radical changes at the FBI, selecting one of his fiercest loyalists, Kash Patel, to lead the agency.
He's tough, he's smart, he loves our country, and he is a warrior, Kash Patel.
Trump on Truth Social calling him a brilliant lawyer, investigator, and America First fighter.
And we all have a job to do. We have the benefit. We're blessed by God to have Donald Trump be our juggernaut of justice.
The 44-year-old Patel grew up on Long Island, the son of immigrants from Africa with Indian heritage. He attended Pace University, went on to be a public defender in Miami for 9 years, and then served as a Department of Justice prosecutor.
Kash Patel, where's Kash? Thank you, Kash.
The hardliner has been an ally to Trump for years, appearing at his criminal trial in New York, and earning the praise of longtime Trump confidant Roger Stone on Stone's podcast.
As you know, Kash, I'm a dog lover. I have named one of my dogs Kash. This is not to make light of you. This is a homage to you. This is because I admire you. And your fight.
Patel has called for shutting down the FBI's headquarters in Washington.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state.
In his book writing, drastic measures need to be taken and that Democrats should be very afraid.
I'm never going to be the one that says defund the FBI or get rid of it, but it needs a complete rehabilitation.
He has spread false claims about voter fraud January 6th and accused the so-called deep state of targeting Trump.
The government gangsters in Washington, D.C. have one main operational arm. That is a two-tier system of justice that they choose to weaponize and politicize because we care more about America than they do.
He's also talked positively about the QAnon conspiracy on the podcast Patriot Party News.
You got to harness that following that Q has garnered and just sort of tweak it a little bit. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying, he should get credit for all the things he has accomplished.
And in an appearance on Steve Bannon's podcast, he's vowed to go after Trump's adversaries in the federal government and the media, too.
We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice.
During Trump's first term, Patel served on the National Security Council before temporary roles as the Deputy Director of National Intelligence and the Pentagon. He was a vocal critic of the investigation into Trump's ties to Russia. Trump even talked about making Patel Deputy FBI Director in 2020. But then Attorney General Bill Barr opposed the move so much he said it would only, quote, happen over my dead body. Ever since the Watergate scandal, Congress decided that the FBI director should serve a 10-year term, specifically to avoid White House interference in criminal investigations. And traditionally, nominees have tried to appear apolitical. Trump himself nominated the current director, Christopher Wray, who assumed the role back in 2017. And he would need to fire him first, or Wray would need to offer his resignation.
Well, Christopher Wray, of course, is a Republican, appointed by a Republican, as he has said, but apparently has demonstrated too much independence and objectivity in the job for Donald Trump.
But Republican Senator Mike Rounds of South Dakota has expressed confidence in Wray's leadership, calling him a, quote, very good man.
I don't have any complaints about the way that he's done his job right now. And the message, and one that I feel very strongly about, is that there is a constitutional separation. The founding fathers did that for a reason. We accept that the president should have the people that he wants in his cabinet and on his team. Every president wants that. We give them the benefit of the doubt.
Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa, who is in line to chair the Senate Judiciary Committee next month, has been more critical of Wray, on X writing that he had failed as FBI director and that Patel must prove to Congress he will reform and restore public trust in the FBI. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas also in favor of change.
I think Kash Patel is a very strong nominee to take on the partisan corruption in the FBI.
We are going to look back together and say, we helped destroy the two-tier system of justice that is targeting Americans illegally.
Major shakeup if he's confirmed. Our thanks to Pierre Thomas for that. Tonight,
So I'm sitting here learning for the first time a lot of stuff about Kash Patel, like you people. Okay, we have an interest in what's going on in politics because it affects almost every aspect of our lives. So this is one of the things that I want to look at. I want to look at President Trump's picks. Kash Patel, once again, depending on what side that you're on, he's either a great pick or he's the worst pick, right? So far, what I'm hearing and seeing, he seems like a great pick. If you're for cleaning up corruption in the FBI, then why wouldn't Kash Patel be a great pick for you? Unless you're compromised or you're nefarious or you benefit somehow from this corruption, I don't see why you wouldn't want this. As a retail investor, as just a regular American citizen, yes, I want to see corruption in all government branches eradicated. Let's get rid of it. This is the reason why we voted Trump in. Mainstream media is attacking Kash Patel and every other Trump pick, and it seems disingenuous to me. I mean, if you're an American citizen, you love this country, wouldn't you want transparency? Wouldn't you want the criminals brought to justice? Wouldn't you want people that's benefiting from the demise of the American citizen? Wouldn't you want those people brought to justice? If you are nefarious and you are aiding and abetting corruption, then we don't want you here. We definitely don't want you leading any government organization because it's not in the best interest of the people. It's definitely not in the best interest of an American citizen. It's definitely not the best interest of retail investors. You're seeing a meltdown right now. Even Gary Gensler has retired. So what does that tell you? That there is a lot of malfeasance going on, and you have President Trump, who has been a victim of it. A lot of us see government overreach when it comes to Donald Trump. And of course, you are going to put people in power that is going to have your best interests in mind, right? You know, you're going to see people that are upset about his picks, right? And they're making it seem like, oh, well, he's picking people that are loyal to him and people that support him as if it's a bad thing. If you're running a company, if you're going to have a team around you, you're going to want to have a team that buys in, right? You're going to want to have a team that has a great attitude, that buys in. We're all on the same page, and we're heading for the same goals. Well, to me, the goals for President Trump is to fix a lot of things that are wrong, especially corruption in government. We're seeing it. Even Matt Gaetz has pointed out to us that there's a congressman that front runs the stock market. And as a retail investor, we're upset about that. So yeah, we want the people in place that is going to eradicate this cancer. And that cancer is corruption in government. It's corruption in government everywhere. So let's go ahead to the next video of Mr. Kash Patel.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lisa Booth, along with Julie Banderas, Charlie Hurt, and Dr. Mark Siegel, and this is the Big Weekend Show. We begin tonight with a Fox News alert. President-elect Donald Trump has just nominated Kash Patel for director of the FBI. Trump made the announcement on Truth Social just moments ago. During Trump's first term, Patel served as the chief of staff at the Department of Defense. So, Charlie, not too long ago, Donald Trump said that Kash's new book, talking about how he's going to completely eradicate the deep state and also firings at the top ranks of the FBI would sort of be the blueprint for what he would want to do in his new administration. I mean, the deep state needs cleaning. The Department of Justice and the FBI also need some firings and some reform as well. So what do you think he'd be able to accomplish as FBI director?
Yeah, well, obviously, Kash Patel has a unique observation and history with the FBI. He has been on all sides of the FBI. He, working for Devin Nunes in Congress, of course, had oversight of the FBI and made life difficult for them. But that was, of course, before he realized just how corrupt the FBI is. He's also.
Real quick, Devin Nunes, which he's the gentleman that's the CEO of Donald Trump's company, DJT. That's a company that has been very vocal. They've been very vocal about illegal naked shorts. So we as retail investors love the fact that someone with such a huge platform like Donald Trump, like Devin Nunes, DJT, even Elon Musk with Tesla, speaks out about the SEC being inept. They're speaking out about illegal naked short selling, predatory short selling. They're speaking out about all of these things that are illegal to do. So for me as a retail investor, I'm very excited that this person here, Kash Patel, worked under Devin Nunes. So a lot of these people, I'm sure, have had conversations about the malfeasance in the stock market. Let's continue.
Been a target of the FBI, and the reason he was a target of the FBI is because he pressured the release of information exposing that the FBI had illegally spied on President Trump's campaign and during his presidency. And the idea that this was, only in Washington would this be shocking. He has experience. He knows where the bodies are buried, and you will not be able to fool him out of actually doing some of the cleaning that needs to be done.
In the book is Government of Gangsters. So let's look at some of what Kash has done. He has served as the U.S. National Security Council official, senior advisor to the acting director of national intelligence, also as the chief of staff to the acting United States Secretary of Defense, all during the Trump administration. So, Julie, this is someone that Donald Trump trusts. Right. Yeah. And we saw him face the deep state during his first administration. We all remember the Russia hoax. We also remember the 51 former intelligence officers who lied to us, telling us that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. So it's important, particularly at the role of FBI director, for him to have someone that he trusts.
Yeah, and there is a history of a lot of deep state, if you want to talk about the deep state politics here, but in the FBI in itself, just trusting the FBI. I mean, we have not trusted him in past administrations, the FBI in general. The directors and former directors and also members of the FBI have been leaking information to the press in order to advance their political purposes. And the FBI should not be a place of politics. I mean, the FBI has a role, and the FBI has really lost a lot of credibility. I mean, the FBI does not have credibility. So I think obviously there's going to be backlash. Everyone's going to criticize on the left that Donald Trump has yet once again picked another, conservative who happens to also be a friend, who happens to be an ally. But that's kind of what you need in this White House, because if you don't pick people that you trust, then that's when the leaks happen and that's when the backstabbing happens. And for once, he's got people surrounded by him. And I know that Trump is very much a loyalist and he believes in the people that are loyal to him. And so you know that you're not going to be getting that with Kash Patel and with a lot of other nominees that he's chosen to elect.
Yeah, and this is.
Isn't that what you want? If you are starting whatever, if you're running for office, you're starting a business, you want people that's going to be loyal to you. Okay, you're going to want people that has similar thinking, people that buys in to your vision, to your goals, and is going to help you achieve those goals. Why wouldn't you put people around you that you can trust? You and I, in our regular lives, we surround ourselves, or we should surround ourselves with people that we trust. If you don't trust someone, you typically don't have them around you. That's just your regular life, right? Why would President Trump be any different?
Someone who's also faced 2 assassination attempts as well, right? So he really needs people he can
trust his inner circle.
I think that the key points that have been made, he's cleansing. He's cleansing the FBI here. He's cleansing Department of Justice. He wants loyalists. You talk about loyalists. Kash Patel, of course, to add one point here, was the one who said those documents were declassified, period. And he stood up for Trump. He took the Fifth Amendment. That is something Trump remembers. With all the attacks that Trump considers to be politically motivated, Patel stood up for him. Has a great background. Got his JD over in the UK. Is a very, very smart operator. Has been in the Department of Defense, as was said, Department of Justice. He's highly skilled.
Well, and I like, especially as someone who distrusts government to a great degree, I like the fact that Trump's surrounding himself with people who also don't like the government very much as well, and who've also been targets of the government as well. All right, so let's now head down to West Palm Beach, Florida, where Mark Meredith has been following this story very closely. Mark.
Good evening. You're right. I sure have. I'm glad I didn't make dinner reservations for tonight because these nominees are coming out at a pretty much rapid pace. We've also learned that there's going to be a new nominee to head up the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency. But I have to go back to the main story at this hour is that President-elect Trump plans, once he makes it to Washington, to nominate a new FBI director who would then, if confirmed by the Senate, take over from Christopher Wray, who filled the job after James Comey was fired back in 2017 as well. Now, Trump has been talking about trying to shake up the FBI for years, and obviously Kash Patel, if confirmed, would be able to do that. He has spoken out quite a bit about what he says is a deep state unelected cabal of tyrants who he thinks are trying to sabotage those that have been elected, including President-elect Trump. There had been rumblings that Patel could end up at CIA. The FBI post was also being out there as something talked about, but we didn't expect this announcement tonight. Now, one of the big questions going forward is what kind of reception he will get up on Capitol Hill. We saw what happened after the Attorney General nominee, Matt Gaetz, was announced. Trump said he was going to stick with him, that he felt like he was very confident in him. But then after a few days up on the Hill, gauging the reaction from lawmakers, they realized that they weren't going to be able to get their nominee through.
Just for the record, I like Matt Gaetz. Just doing the deep dive on Matt Gaetz and seeing what he's about. I have that video where he exposes congressmen for front-running stocks. So if you're in politics and you're going to be the politician who's going to make choices based on his pocketbook, then we don't want you. So, oh, well, you know something? If we're going to war, or if we're going to go finance a war by hundreds of billions of dollars, well, I'm going to go ahead and buy stocks in companies that manufacture war equipment, or they manufacture weapons of war, right? So if you're that type of a congressman that's going to go ahead and make money off of that, the pain and suffering of people, you talk about conflict of interest, you're not going to do your job. The only way you're going to do your job, the only way that I see these people doing their jobs is, okay, well, what's going to make me the most money? So that you don't care if people are dying. You don't care. So when Matt Gaetz exposed those congressmen, I thought that was gangster. I loved it.
Don't know what kind of reception Kash Patel is likely to get from the Senate. Obviously, the Republicans are counting on that Senate majority that they're going to have come January. That's going to give them a little bit more leverage, obviously, than they would have right now, with the Democrats still having that very small percentage where they can flip the chamber. So let's talk about what we're going to see next. One, we're going to have to ask about what about Christopher Wray's response to all of this right now. Obviously, he is not going to be Trump's pick going forward. My understanding is that he had said he had not planned to go anywhere after he had already been confirmed, like I said, in 2017. So he's going to simply be out of a job, but whether or not it's going to be Patel or somebody else going forward, still yet to be seen. If it's okay with you, I'd like to read what Trump had to say about his nominee. He said he wants him to serve because he's a brilliant lawyer, an investigator, and an America First fighter who has spent his career exposing corruption, defending justice, and protecting the American people. Now, what we will also be looking to see is how, if confirmed, Patel would want to shake up the FBI. Obviously, there's been so much focus on the FBI's role back in 2016 as it began investigating Russiagate. And we have seen, of course, those hearings that have happened for years where people were trying to find out who was trying to control some of the behind the scenes action as they were investigating Trump. Trump making it very clear he's not happy with the FBI. And this certainly would be a shakeup. Guys, back to you.
It sure is, Mark. Thank you. A little breaking news to keep things exciting around here. Charlie, how do you think Kash Patel being picked as FBI director, how do you think this will be received on Capitol Hill? What does this fight look like for Trump to get some of these guys through?
Oh, there will definitely be a pretty good freak out on Capitol Hill among Democrats.
You think?
I don't think that there will be as much resistance. The problem for Matt Gaetz was that he started finding resistance among Republicans, and it had less to do with his history of work and more to do with other things. Kash Patel doesn't have to worry about that. There will be a massive freak out over the fact of what he stands for and what he promises to do. What I love about this is, there are lots of flaws with Matt Gaetz. But one of the great things about picking Matt Gaetz is that we were going to have confirmation hearings that we're going to put the Department of Justice on trial. And we were going to have a good 2 weeks of forcing the press to talk about how corrupt the Department of Justice has become and how much the Biden administration and the Obama administration, quite frankly, politicized the Department of Justice to go after their political enemies.
Weaponize the Department of Justice to go after their political enemies. Is this what we want? No, of course not. This is not what we want. You just use them as an instrument to bully. Using the Department of Justice, man, in a way to bully and to rule. This is insane, man. So many people have talked about how corrupt the Department of Justice is, the FBI is, and why wouldn't you want someone that's going to go in there and clean up with his intentions on cleaning up? So you're going to hear from the left-wing media talking about, oh, well, Donald Trump is going to come in here and he's going to weaponize the Department of Justice and the FBI. Listen, the FBI and the Department of Justice is already weaponized. What he wants to do is go after the nefarious people, the lawbreakers. He's not trying to weaponize the Department of Justice. He's trying to clean it up. You guys are trying to spin it now. Holy smokes. You want to talk about going after people for things that just seems like there was such a far reach, government overreach, law enforcement overreach. It was crazy. People are like, come on, man. We can see, even people that are casual political people like I used to be could see you guys are weaponizing the Department of Justice and FBI to do what? To bully your political opponents, to punish them if they don't fall in line. We're done with that, man. We don't want that. So I'm liking what I'm hearing about Kash Patel. We're going to learn today. We're going to learn today.
And, we lost that when Matt Gaetz walked away, but we're going to get it now. When Kash Patel goes before the United States Senate, the entire thing is going to be a trial of the Department of Justice and every single thing that they have done to become more politicized and to become weapons against anyone that the Biden administration or the Obama administration deems as a threat. And that is a magnificent thing.
Yeah.
Dr. Siegel, I feel like, this was a mandate for Donald Trump, right? The House and the Senate, they rode his coattails to victory. So I think he should have the people around him that he wants and that he trusts.
And that have great talent. And the other thing about Kash Patel is he's a writer and he messages and he helped Trump run Truth Social. And that children's book he wrote, The Plot Against the King, which made fun of the whole idea that Trump was targeted in the 2016 election, took his side with a children's book. He does it all across the way. And I think that Trump is picking him, A, because of his talent and B, because of his loyalty.
Julie, big picture, looking at some of these nominees and these cabinet picks, What does that tell you about what kind of administration we're going to see from this next chapter?
I think that we're going to have more honesty and transparency, because there was one thing that the former President Trump did, and that was be transparent. And this administration has been not. There has been such a lack of transparency in that. And I want to talk about Kash Patel as the man, not just of the professional. I mean, he's super distinguished. He is so smart. He's so qualified for this job. So nobody out there on the left can say he's not. But he's also a good person. Yeah. He's an honest man. He wrote that children's book. He's hysterical. I love him. His personality is amazing. He's a real person. But he also, like a children's book, he is actually a co-author. The two of us wrote for the same children's book publisher, Brave Books. And so I do know him quite well. And I think he's an amazing character. And I think he's going to be a huge asset. And I think it's so important to know that he's taking good character people and putting them into the White House that we can trust, that we know that they're not going to tell us bold-faced lies every single day. These are honest, hardworking people, and I don't think you can really argue against that.
Well, and Charlie, I mean, Americans overwhelmingly wanted change, right? They didn't like the direction this country was heading in, and they wanted change, and that's what they're getting.
Yeah, there were obviously key issues that that went into this past election. Immigration was one of them. The economy was another. But first and foremost, and the entire, we have talked about having like a third party or a nonpartisan candidate for as long as I've been covering politics. Donald Trump is the first person to come along who is a nonpartisan candidate, who is a third-party candidate, and he has crashed both parties. And the reason is exactly what you just said right there. People are ready for change. They want a scalding change to occur in Washington. And obviously, Donald Trump himself would say that there were mistakes he made, chiefly about some of the people that he hired in the first term. He's not going to make that mistake this time. And I think that, he views his reelection as being a starting point, not a victory, but a starting point for making transformational change.
Bringing in fresh talent. Trump doesn't really have a rear view mirror. He's not going to go back in time to somebody that he thinks, well, maybe I'll keep him, maybe I won't. And I absolutely agree with Julie that the bad look from the last administration, of the outgoing administration, of camouflaging everything, a sick president that was hidden from the public eye, except from physicians who knew. I mean, we need fresh transparency. By the way, get Julie Banderas' children's book, Brave Books.
Also, good. I'm glad you brought up the fact they did lie to us about. We have a president currently in office who dropped out via X, said he wasn't equipped to run for president, but yet he's still in office. It's real quick, Julie, then we got to go.
No, I mean, it's crazy. And if you look at the past administration and you wonder why he's changing and making these drastic changes, is because that's what America voted for. Yep. They did not vote for Kamala Harris because they wanted change. Even Kamala Harris couldn't accept that this country wants change. So I say go for it. Kash Patel has been very vocal that he wants to absolutely just upend the FBI, just turn it on its back, and he should, because the FBI has been corrupt for way too many years.
Totally corrupt. Great guy.
Yeah.
That seems to be the consensus, that the FBI is corrupt. That seems to be the consensus of many on both sides of the aisle. Once again, excuse me, once again, I have family on both sides. I have friends on both sides. Even my friends and family on the Democratic side believe that the FBI needs to be, even they believe that the FBI needs to be cleaned out. There's corruption there. They feel like, okay, there needs to be a change for sure. These are people that are Democrats saying this. Even they see the corruption. Even they see that the FBI, Department of Justice, has been weaponized. So no, this is criminal activity that we do not want anymore. We're tired of it. Like they said, Kash Patel is a good man. Kash Patel is someone who has experience in dealing with matters like this. So why not have him be the director of the FBI, especially if he's going to be someone who's loyal to Donald Trump, but someone who is actually loyal to the law, someone who wants to get the job done. I don't see a problem with it. And if you do see a problem with someone that's trying to come in here and clean things up and wants and believes and bleeds justice and thinks justice should be served, then there's a problem with you. There's a problem with you. The consensus is the FBI is compromised and corrupt. So I want to be fair though. I want to have right-wing media talk, and I also want to hear left-wing media talk. I think it's important to hear both sides because it'll give you a better perspective. You'll take a listen to their argument, like, okay. And then a lot of the argument, you'll see that it's just okay. A lot of stuff is far-reaching. A lot of things is meant to undermine, and I think a lot of things is to fool the public. You're going to hear a lot of things that are opinions. And you're going to hear a lot of things that are not true. So let's take a look at MSNBC. Let's see what they say about the brother Kash Patel.
And we begin tonight with what might be the worst pick in the worst cabinet in U.S. history. Continuing his breakneck pace of unqualified yet theatrical cabinet nominations, Donald Trump rolled out perhaps his most bonkers one this weekend. Kash Patel, the conspiracy theorist who even William Barr, the cover-up general, thought was too unhinged to name to a deputy job in the AG's office. The middling lawyer who, after graduating with a law degree from Pace University, was denied jobs at a series of law firms and wound up as a public defender in Miami instead. Good, honorable work. But then wound up as a staffer to Republican congressman and longtime Trump lackey Devin Nunes, you know, the guy who famously sued a fictional cow for making fun of him on Twitter and served as a bagman for Donald Trump on the Hill before taking the helm at Trump's social media grift Truth Social. That guy's former deputy Kash Patel, who was offered immunity to testify about Trump's hoarding of classified documents at Mar-a-Lago after leaving office. That guy is Trump's choice to be the new director of the FBI.
You see? You see how they're already trying to discredit the man. You already see it. They're trying to discredit the man already. Basically, they're criticizing the man already, right? And trying to be dismissive of him, be dismissive of his track record, be dismissive of his tenure. And you could just hear how condescending she is, about where he obtained his degree, and talking about conspiracy theorists. From what I understand, a term coined by the CIA a long time ago to make people think that they're not being gaslit, to make people think that they're not being lied to. So it's interesting that they still use the same playbook. To me, she's gaslighting. She's trying to make this man, she's trying to paint the picture that this man is not qualified to be FBI director. As if the FBI is beyond reproach. Like these people are not nefarious, or people that are in the FBI. It's impossible that anyone in the FBI could be nefarious. It's impossible that anyone in the FBI could be doing things to harm American citizens, to give us misinformation, to be weaponized. It's interesting when you see both sides, right? You see the left and the right. She clearly is on the left, and she clearly has made a career out of attacking the right wing and right wing media and Republicans. She's made a career out of it. So this here, to me, is just another attack to cast doubt on this pick as well. They're going to cast doubt on every single pick. They wouldn't be happy unless it was some Democrat that is totally against Trump. Do you really believe that that's the type of person that Donald Trump would pick? I mean, even this lady, Joy, probably doesn't have people around her. Think about this. She's a famous person. I'm sure she has staff, right? If she found out that there was staff that was undermining her, saying disparaging things about her on social media and gossiping about her to anyone that would listen to about how horrible of a person Joy is and all of these other things about Joy and her career and how she got there, and she's really fake and she's a horrible person in real life. She hates people. Imagine if she had a person like that around her. That person wouldn't last. None of us would want a person like that around us. I don't care how good of a job they do, they would be gone. So why would Donald Trump be any different? Why wouldn't he put people around him that's like-minded, people that have the same vision? To me, this gentleman here, he is going to eradicate the FBI. Let's get back to Joy. She's such a joy.
Now, if you're familiar with the manosphere and MAGA media universe, you'll recognize Patel as one of the players who floated the conspiracy that it was the FBI who really did January 6th in order to frame MAGA supporters so they would take the blame. He has pitched the stolen election conspiracy, the conspiracy that the deep state falsely targeted Trump for taking those national security documents home to his bathroom and ballroom, and he has pushed the QAnon conspiracy theory, too. He also helped produce the cringeworthy version of the national anthem performed by a choir of jailed January 6th insurrectionists that Trump played at a number of his campaign rallies. Patel is such a dedicated Trump lackey. He even wrote a children's book called The Plot Against the King, about a king named Donald Trump, of course, which is described this way on Amazon.com, and I quote, "A fantastical retelling of Hillary's horrible plot against Trump to the whole family, full of fake heralds and Keeper Comey's spying slugs. This is a story of daring and danger, but never fear. Kash, the distinguished discoverer, will win the day." Charming. Here's Kash Patel on Steve Bannon's podcast, threatening to use federal law enforcement to go after the media.
We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice.
Okay, so real quick. Go after the media that has been weaponized, basically. Go after the media that has disinformation. Okay. I'm for it, man, because guess what? Your ratings have fallen. People have left. You don't have the audience that you're used to. People have woken up. They've taken the red pill. So you have people that's coming in here to fight crime. They want to fight crime. That seems like that is the paramount. Fighting crime, whether it's at the border, whether it's in Department of Justice, FBI, and Congress, whatever. They want to fight crime in media. And if you are not a criminal, if you are not purposely spreading disinformation, if you are not purposely trying to cast a narrative that that's harmful, then you have nothing to worry about, right? Why worry? I mean, do you have to worry about your ratings? But I guess we'll see, man. This is a soap opera that I'm loving this soap opera, man. Politics and legacy media. It's I love it, man. I can't even lie. I didn't know legacy media and politics was this entertaining. I'm entertained every day. Yes, I am entertained.
Okay. And you know, that podcast piece is actually kind of key here. In his first administration, the vibe Trump wanted was generals. 4-star Marine generals John Kelly and James Mad Dog Mattis for Chief of Staff and Defense. He liked the nickname Mad Dog. And 4-star Army General Mark Milley for Joint Chiefs Chair. He called them my generals, and he bragged that they came from central casting. Though he's probably changed his mind a bit since Generals Kelly and Milley have labeled him a fascist to the core. He threw in a bunch of super rich CEOs, Wilbur Ross and Rex Tillerson, a modern day version of an old Dixiecrat sheriff for Attorney General Jefferson Beauregard Sessions before firing him for cover-up General Barr, a brown lady at the UN, and a famous black-eyed HUD, since that's where the projects are. And voila, cabinet. But the big branding theme was generals. This time around, though, if you want a through line to the people Trump wants around him, look to the right-wing podcasts and other conservative media, all heavily funded by right-wing billionaires, of course. Here's Trump's pick for Director of National Intelligence, conspiracy theorist Tulsi Gabbard on the Sean Ryan Show podcast. She's a fixture of the right-wing podosphere. Here's RFK Jr., Trump's pick for Health and Human Services Secretary, on the Ben Shapiro podcast. But he also hosts his own, where he lets forth with his unique Nepo rich guy brand of medical and other conspiracy theories for which he has no scientific training. Also, his wife's an actress. I'm sure Trump loves that. Linda Macbeth, Trump's defense secretary pick, could be seen on Fox weekends. Also a fixture on Fox is Trump's pick for Surgeon General, Dr. Jeanette Nesheiwat. Then there's Dr. Oz, who had a TV show and came from the TV world of Oprah Winfrey. And both of Trump's AG picks failed nominee and former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, who stepped down amid allegations of sex trafficking a teenage girl, which he denies, and current nominee and former Florida AG Pam Bondi, accused of taking a $25,000 bribe from Trump for her election PAC, are frequent fixtures on Fox, Newsmax, and OANN. Even J.D. Vance rose to prominence on the right by appearing on Bannon's and other right-wing podcasts. Now, normally, when a president feels...
Okay, this is my thing. Okay, so they're going to attack all of the picks. No one is going to be excluded. They are going to attack every single pick of Donald Trump because they don't like Donald Trump. They are upset that he got reelected, so they're going to attack him before he even gets into office. Every single pick. Okay. She also talks about podcasts. Let me explain something to you, ladies and gentlemen. Video podcasts are kicking legacy media's ass. They are kicking their ass. Elon Musk said that X, the app formerly known as Twitter, is the #1 source for news. And it's true. So many people that I know, it's the first app they open up. You know, of course, you're going to go ahead and check out the sources of it, especially if it's a particular topic that you find a lot of interest in, like me, retail investor, investing in the stock market, and now politics. Yeah, I want to know. So yeah, X is my go-to, and you have a lot of podcasts. There's a lot of podcasts that I love. You know, Joe Rogan, love Joe Rogan's podcast. Alex Jones. You got in the hip hop community that I love, man. I love $1 Million Worth of Game. I love Drink Champs, and several others. Club Shay Shay, you name it, man. People are going to podcasts for entertainment and news. It's not only news; it's entertainment as well. So she clearly, look at the face. She clearly is upset. She's mainstream media, losing in the ratings battle. Okay, viewership is down, and as you know, MSNBC is for sale. They're spinning it off. It's a spinoff, or it's for sale, or maybe it's both. Whichever way they could get rid of it. They're done. Legacy media is losing, so of course she's going to attack podcasts. That's kicking her ass. She's going to attack Donald Trump, who the people have elected, and she's going to attack Donald Trump's selections because she's upset that her party didn't get elected, and she's upset that Donald Trump did get elected, and she's probably, and I'm not privy to any insider information, but maybe she's compromised. Maybe there's a reason why they don't want these crime fighters coming in and fighting crime. That's what I think. I don't know. Let's get back to it.
The cabinet media types like moi have to scramble to figure out who they are. In this case, Trump is picking people who are already familiar to his base. The right-wing media ecosphere is how Trump squeaked back into office, keeping its fans, especially the so-called manosphere, happy and entertained by people they inherently trust because they're in their ear or on their phone or on their TV all the time, is how he will keep his base's amygdalas satiated, whether or not he keeps his ghoulish promises and provides public entertainments like mass deportations, caged children, journalists and impure Republicans and recalcitrant Democrats hauled off to show trials, and the army marching through the streets of blue cities. The revolution against democracy will be podcast, posted, and televised. His unelected bureaucrat billionaire boys club, efficiency czars Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy even plan to launch a special podcast just to keep their fans on X Twitter informed on all the civil servants they fire and services they cut. No telling how transparent they'll be on the pod about what federal contracts they ensure are awarded to themselves.
And I love how mad they are. I love how mad the left-wing media is, legacy media. She is no joy right now. She's not enjoying herself. MSNBC on the chocolate block, she is just going off right now. You gotta love it, man. You know, that's the thing. You gotta have both perspectives. You gotta have the perspective of the people that think more like you, and then you gotta listen to what the other side is talking about. You know. How else are you gonna have a full understanding? Both sides have to understand what the other side is thinking. So, but to me, this is just more legacy media propaganda. Mainstream media is losing. She's upset about podcasts. Joe Rogan is a beast. That's one of my favorite podcasts. Joe Rogan, a beast, just absolutely killing it. Absolutely killing it. Oh, and Vlad TV, another one that's one of my favorite podcasts, man. Video podcasts has been taken over once again for news and for entertainment, man. We love it. Joy is not being joyful. She's not enjoying herself. Let's go back to Joy.
Yes, these cabinet picks seem crazy to normal people who are used to normal politics. But Trump isn't filling a cabinet. He's casting a reality show. Call it The Apprentice federal government. And the competition will be which of these sideshow bobs can break their federal department first, while purging the government of all but Trump loyalists and turning each agency upside down like a piggy bank and shaking the federal dollars into their own and Donald Trump's pockets. How do you loot America and get a third of the country to cheer for you, a third to be too scared to fight you, and the final third to tune out entirely? Easy. You put on a freak show. Joining me now is Glenn Kirshner, MSNBC legal analyst and former federal prosecutor. Olivia Troy, former Homeland Security and counterterrorism advisor to former Vice President Mike Pence. And Hugo Lowell, political investigations reporter for The Guardian. Thank you all for being here. Glenn, I do want to get your first take on the Kash Patel nomination as somebody who worked in the DOJ.
And I worked with a lot of good FBI agents, the men and women of law enforcement over the years. And I'll tell you, Joy, when I see clips of Kash Patel saying things like, you know what, we're going to go after people who helped Joe Biden rig the election, and we're going to go after them, I don't know, criminally, civilly, we'll come up with something. First of all, to me, that sounds disqualifying. And if you have a Senate that cares about their advice and consent responsibilities, they will refuse to confirm a guy like Kash Patel. But here's the other thing. He is going to...
Just so we're clear, there's a lot of people that think Joe Biden is nefarious. There is a lot of people that have questions about what's going on in Ukraine, hundreds of billions of dollars. There's a lot of people who have questions about the recent pardoning of Hunter Biden, and the reason Hunter Biden has a 10-year pardon that goes back to 2014. And from what I understand, this is when he started doing business over in the Ukraine. So there's a lot of people that label the Biden family as a crime family. So I think there's going to be a lot of things that's going to be exposed. So we're going to see. These people are in shambles. They're in shambles, man. So if Kash Patel goes in and does these investigations, and if there's laws that were broken, if these people are nefarious, if these people are criminals, then so be it, man. So be it. You want to sit up here and now and cast doubt and be like, oh, well, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. Look, if there's no crime, then there's nothing to worry about. If people aren't breaking the law, there's nothing to worry about, right? But if they are, then I want somebody like Kash Patel on the business. Get on the business, man. We want to know. We want to know, dude. We're regular schmegler citizens out here. We can't get away with nothing. We can't do nothing. They're able, and this is what it looks like. They're able to commit a crime with impunity. Nothing happens to them. White collar crime, right? Man, why is it always made to look like it's so innocent? It's just I don't know. People perceive it that way, but these white collar crimes, man, you're talking about billions and trillions of dollars that are at stake. You're talking about a government that has lost trillions of dollars and don't know where it is. We've lost hundreds of billions of dollars, almost $1 trillion, or whatever the case is, and it's business as usual. We don't know where it's at, and people are up in arms that Elon Musk and Vivek are going to come in here and take a look at our spending, our government spending, and you have Elon Musk saying, I'm going to trim $2 trillion off, and I'm going to do it for free. Why would you be against any of these things? Unless you're nefarious. We're going to find out. Or you're going to learn today. We're going to learn today.
Have to enlist lots of people if he wants to vindictively go after Donald Trump's announced enemies. He's going to need corrupt prosecutors. He's going to need to pull the wool over the eyes of grand jurors who are to sit and assess the evidence. He's going to have to convince judges to go along with his sham investigations and prosecutions. He's going to be blocked every step of the way. Now, that's little consolation to the people whose lives he will upend going through these sham investigations for crimes that we all know weren't even committed because Joe Biden didn't try to steal an election. So listen, he has an uphill battle, I think, to be confirmed. And it would be even worse for him if he gets in to be the director of the FBI, because I believe he will have the good men and women of law enforcement bucking him every step of the way.
Well, that's a big if. If the part where you said about if you had a Senate that had the care for the American system and democracy to stop him. Let me play a few of them. Here's some senators, Republican senators, reacting to the nomination.
I think Kash Patel is a very strong nominee. I think Kash Patel is going to be confirmed by the Senate. You look at his background. He has a serious professional background.
Kash Patel has more experience than just about anybody coming into this position. He has a well-rounded background. I look forward to supporting him and pushing this nomination across the finish line.
There are serious problems at the FBI. The American public knows it. They expect to see sweeping change, and Kash Patel is just the type of person to do it.
It doesn't surprise me that he will pick people that he believes are very loyal to himself, and that's been a part of the process.
You can almost smell the fear, Olivia, and you've seen people begin to capitulate in advance. They're running scared because they now know that, first of all, there are no senators who are going to have the cojones to stop him. He will get through. And then he can unleash Donald Trump's vindictiveness on whoever he wants. I want to just point you to the enemies list. I was fairly surprised, honestly, and thankful that your name was not on it, my friend. But the names on the hit list that Kash Patel published in his book.
Real quick, a lot of the stuff I'm just learning about Kash Patel. So I'm like a lot of you guys. I'm curious. Who is his brother? Who is Kash? I mean, the name is dope, Kash. But this book right here, I want to read it, man. Government Gangsters. Kash Patel, right there walking, man. Got the presidential helicopter in the background. I think it looks dope. I'm interested, man. If Kash Patel has got these mugs tweaking like this, if they faces is melting like they are right now, they in shambles. I want to know who Kash Patel is. Shit, you guys aren't making me want to throw this dude in the garbage. It's like I don't want to know who this dude is. By y'all crying the way y'all are, and once again, to me, it just looks like just a bunch of rhetoric. Just the propaganda to discredit this man. Yeah, now you make me want to know who he is even more. All right, Kash. I love it, man.
book called Government Gangsters. He mentioned a bunch of people who work for Donald Trump. He mentioned the current defense secretary who works for under Biden, Lloyd Austin. He mentioned William Barr, the cover-up general, John Bolton, who worked national security advisor under Trump, John Brennan, the former CIA director under Obama, Pat Cipollone, former White House counsel, who you know very well, who testified against.
They look so concerned. They look mad, man. I cannot believe it. Man, this is going to be a fun 4 years, I think, for President Trump. Man. I think he go wreck shop. I think he go get rid of a lot of nefariousness, man. And I think these people right here, man, they just go. Oh man, they is upset. They is upset, man. That's what shambles look like right there.
Donald Trump in the January 6th committee. He mentioned Hillary Clinton, Merrick Garland, Kamala Harris, Eric Holder, Andrew McCabe, Mark Milley, Peter Strzok. I could go on. Robert Mueller, of course, is on the enemies list. Mark Esper, the former defense secretary, who's the one who told Trump, you cannot shoot citizens in the leg, sir. You can't do it. He's on the enemies list. Cassidy Hutchinson, the brave young woman who you also know, who bravely, but braver than anybody that testified in the January 6th committee, she's on the list. So those senators are probably scared to death of getting on the list as well.
Well, there you have it, man. There you have it, dude. You got to see both sides. We got to be fair. We got to show both sides, man. We got to show both sides. And to me, it's apparent, man. It is painfully obvious, man, that they are upset. They are in shambles. They are going to attack every single person that Donald Trump wants to appoint. Kash Patel is the latest of them. I love it, man. The brother got a dope name, Kash Patel. I'm trying to learn as much as I can about this brother. And mainstream media, when you guys sit up here, you go after these people, the majority of us want to learn about these people now. Let's just see if all of the hate rhetoric that's coming from you, let's see if it actually matches up with the information we find. And so far, it doesn't match up, not even in Matt Gaetz' situation. I don't think it matches up, because you guys are going to always talk about what happened with Matt Gaetz, but you very rarely say that it was all unfounded. He was not prosecuted. He's not in prison. These people aren't in prison, man. Tulsi Gabbard supposedly is a Russian spy or a Russian asset or whatever y'all call her. How come she ain't in prison? How come she ain't in jail? You guys have all this information. What's going on? You know, now it's Kash Patel's turn. Kash Patel is this and that, and he's this. What? It makes us want to know more. You're not making us go away. We want to know who the hell this brother is. Let's take a look, man. Let's take a look at hold on one second. Let's look at this, man. Let's find out who the brother Kash Patel is, man. This is his fight with Kash, about him. The Fight with Kash charitable efforts through the Kash Foundation can be found at cashfoundation.com. Our mission remains to assist these endeavors. Veterans, active duty military and law enforcement, financial assistance, education of the public in areas the mainstream media refuses to cover, provide scholarships for Americans seeking tuition assistance for public, private, college, or other areas of education, legal defense funds to support whistleblowers, defamed American citizens, and other governmental accountability efforts. That's Kash Patel. Everything that I'm seeing and hearing so far about this brother, I like, man. Everything so far, man. Let's take a look. Kash Patel currently serves as Senior Advisor for National Security, Defense, and Intelligence to President Trump. After more than a dozen years in government service as public defender, national security prosecutor, and JSOC civilian, Kash took senior leadership positions in the Trump administration, including Chief of Staff for the Department of Defense, Deputy Director of National Intelligence, and Deputy Assistant to President Trump and Senior Director for Counterterrorism. As the chief investigator for Congress Russiagate investigation under the chairman Devin Nunes, Kash exposed rampant illegal activity by those leading our agencies of law enforcement. He uncovered the unlawful action of the FBI DOJ to spy on the Trump campaign, including intentionally withholding evidence of innocence from the FISA court, the falsification of court documents, and authored the famous Nunes memo, which laid out the historic corruption and weaponization of law enforcement. This is why they don't want this man as FBI director, because this guy's a go-getter. Kash Patel is a go-getter. This man is not going to sit idly by and watch this corruption continue. This is a guy that's going to do something. So this is why they don't want him, and this is why President Trump does want him. Think about this, man. Doers, go-getters, okay? Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., even Matt Gaetz, go-getter, exposes corruption. And the thing about Matt Gaetz, what do they continue to say? They continue to say allegations of Matt Gaetz and, he was investigated for this. But what they don't continue to say, they don't add more context to it. They don't say that this man was not found guilty. All of these things are debunked. The Department of Justice closed the case. Matt Gaetz is not in prison. Tulsi Gabbard, she's supposed to be a Russian sympathizer, a Russian spy, or whatever the latest thing that they're trying to lie about now, right? Okay. I think the first person to even call her this was Hillary Clinton. Nobody trusts Hillary Clinton, dude. Nobody trusts that person. So Tulsi Gabbard, how come she's not in prison? Why is she in jail? You guys want to sit up here and you want to throw around all of these accusations and try to demonize these people and make people hate them in the public. So how come she's not in jail then? Because these are all lies, people. They are going to lie to you because that's always been the playbook. Just lie to the people, and the people will believe us with childlike faith. They'll just follow us. Politics. You know what politics is? And this is why they hate Donald Trump. Politicians are very well, they speak very well. The vernacular is spectacular. The dressing, the suits, the ties, the great smiles, the looks, the being able to talk to the crowd. It's all for show. It's all for show, man. These people are entertainers as well. Don't get it twisted. Politicians are entertainers as well. The difference with Donald Trump is he's just like a regular dude. He's not polished. He's not sitting up here, talking like a politician. He talks like a guy that's fed up with the bullshit. I think that's why a lot of people like him. And that's why he's re-voted in. Let's continue, man. Kash is the author of the best-selling book, Government Gangsters. I want to read that book, which exposes deep state government corruption. President Trump called this book a brilliant roadmap to take back the White House and remove these gangsters from all government. Kash is also the producer of Steve Bannon's film adaptation of his best-selling book, which was released under the same title. He authored 2 children's books to much critical acclaim, Plot Against the King and The Plot Against the King 2, which you guys heard earlier was spoken about, and I think that was a book about Donald Trump. So Kash Patel is the founder of Kash Foundation, dedicated to providing financial assistance to the active duty service members and veterans, legal defense funds, and education programs. Kash currently sits on the board of directors for Trump Media Technology Group. So let me ask you a question. What's so bad about Kash Patel? What's so bad about him? Because he's had some theories about corruption in our government, and that he's proved some corruption, that he's debunked all of the Russiagate and all that stuff, that he's actually wants, Kash Patel actually wants our branches of the Department of Justice and FBI to act like law enforcement. What's wrong with that? This guy seems like he's a legit guy that wants to get stuff done. He seems like a person that has the best interests of the country in mind, and Donald Trump seems to think so as well. I don't understand. Oh, Kash Patel he's not qualified. Why? He's not qualified because he's going to shed light on corruption. That's why. You guys are afraid of it, man. These people are afraid. Let's see what else. Hold on a second. We got Kash Patel over here. This is his Wikipedia. Kash Patel is born in 80 or 81, is an American lawyer, a former federal prosecutor at the U.S. Department of Justice. Previously, he served as a chief of staff to U.S. Secretary of Defense Christopher Miller and senior advisor to the acting director of national intelligence, both during the first presidency of Donald Trump in November 2024. President-elect Trump nominated Patel to succeed Christopher A. Wray as director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. You guys are so afraid of a man who wants justice. So this is my thing. What we have is not working, right? But you want to sit up here and you want to talk about, hey, putting these people into place won't work. But what we currently have is not working. The people have voted. They do not want what we currently have. We want it fixed. So you have all these people at CNN and MSNBC fighting against the will of the people. The majority of the people want change. They want change in government. And the majority of the people believe that there is a large amount of corruption in our government. People want our borders fixed. They want our government agencies fixed, the FBI, the DOJ, the SEC, Securities Exchange Commission. All nefarious, at least it looks like it, right? People want change. What brings me here? The nefariousness of the stock market. All of the corruption in the stock market has brought me here, and now I'm over here talking about it on X. We are the people, man. Let's see. A member of the Republican Party, Patel, was appointed senior counsel on counterterrorism for the House Select Committee on Intelligence in 2017, as well as senior director of counterterrorism directorate at the U.S. National Security Council in 2019. He worked as a senior aide to Congressman Devin Nunes during the latter's tenure as chair of the House Intelligence Committee. While working with Nunes, Patel played a key role in helping Republicans in the investigation into Trump and Russian interference in the 2016 election. Patel was instrumental in drafting the Nunes memo in 2018, which alleged errors in the FBI application for surveillance warrant for Trump's 2016 campaign aid. Like everything that I'm hearing about Kash Patel. You know, if this guy's going to fight for justice, I'm for him, man. So let's take a look at another video with the brother, Kash Patel.
Donald Trump's bombastic pick to run the FBI.
The FBI's footprint has gotten so freaking big.
Already has some controversial ideas for overhauling the Bureau.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops.
In choosing Kash Patel to lead the law enforcement agency, Trump picked a loyal firebrand who is vowed to take on the so-called deep state, which Patel claims is made of journalists, big tech, elected leaders, and senior government bureaucrats.
And our biggest enemy against that truth is the deep state. And we are on a mission to annihilate the deep state.
He's also shown a taste for retribution, including over false claims of 2020 election fraud.
We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out.
He's been a public defender and a federal prosecutor in the Justice Department's National Security Division. During the first Trump term, he worked on the National Security Council and then as chief of staff to the acting defense secretary.
We're blessed by God to have Donald Trump be our juggernaut of justice, to be our leader, to be our continued warrior in the arena.
Real quick, man, they keep bringing up the election, right? How the election, people have different views on the election. It was ran properly or it was stolen, right? In 2020. and the election interference in 2016. This is what's interesting. They talk as if our government elections are they talk as if our government elections are beyond reproach, as if there cannot be any type of corruption. Like, all this corruption is nonsense. This is the stuff that they keep banging into your head. Oh, no, no, no. All of our processes are fine. There's nothing wrong with them. Of course, they can never be compromised. It's kind of like the story that they tell. So if you have an opposing opinion on that, they make you seem as if, or they try to present you as a conspiracy theorist and that you're crazy. You were crazy for thinking that the government is corrupt. Think about this. Conspiracy theory. Think about all of the conspiracies that have come to light that the people were right about. You have many people who grew a conscience, and they talk about all of these horrible things that the government has done. So to sit here and tell me, hey, there might be corruption in presidential elections, okay, that doesn't sound like something that's too far-fetched to me. And a lot of people, mainstream media, a lot of people don't believe you. They don't believe the government. They believe that the government, that there's branches in government and there's people in government and people in media, not everyone, that are nefarious. This is what we believe. This is why people voted Donald Trump back in, because they feel that the current administration has done some nefarious things. So we want to know what's going on. If you have the current administration that's in and they're doing nefarious things and they have their people in place, of course, there's not going to be any transparency. We're not going to be able to see what's going on. You need a new administration to come in and investigate a lot of these things. I'm all for it, especially if Elon Musk has saved us $2 trillion in spending. Well, put a little bit of that money in investigating what's happening in this administration and previous administrations. We want to know what's really going on in the Ukraine and Russia conflict.
Against the charges he faced in the now dropped classified documents case.
They can take what they want. You can't be prosecuted for possessing classified documents.
And while he's claimed violent offenders from January 6th deserve punishment, he's defended others charged in relation to the riot at the U.S. Capitol.
Their lives have been destroyed by the Justice Department because of a political vendetta they want to enact through the justice system to take out Trump.
As for his other endeavors, Patel has a line of apparel as brash as its creator, with items featuring his signature KA$H. He also penned a children's trilogy, apparently dedicated to Trump, the, quote, king of the series. The most recent installment describes the tale of the, quote, MAGA king and his journey to, quote, take down Kamala and reclaim his throne. Patel's book for adults, Government Gangsters, now his rallying cry for reform.
I am going to go on a government gangsters manhunt in Washington, D.C. for our great president. Who's coming with me?
Now, Kash Patel is a controversial pick for this job for a lot of reasons. One, I mean, we already have an FBI director, Christopher Wray, who serves a 10-year term that's designed to take politics out of the equation. So Trump is either going to have to fire Wray or Wray is going to have to quit. But Patel is also...
That's the point. We don't want him. Donald Trump don't want him. He wants someone that he can trust. That's the point, right? You take over, let's say you're a CEO and you take over as CEO as a new company. Every CEO takeover that I've been part of, that CEO brings in his own people. They clean house every single time. Some do it quickly and some, they let it pan out a little bit. They try to get they try to get acclimated to what's going on at that company, and then slowly they bring in their own people. Donald Trump's just said, you know what, I've done this before. I'm bringing in my people now. These are the people that I want. These are the people that I trust, and I'm here for it. Donald Trump, do your thing, baby.
controversial even among Trump's inner circle. A lot of people kind of see him as this sort of relentless self-promoter. He really pushed himself for a role in this administration, but ultimately he was successful. Donald Trump has been very clear that he wants people who are fiercely loyal to him, especially in this roles at the FBI, the Justice Department, and in intelligence. And Kash Patel certainly fits that bill, Jake.
All right, Sarah Murray, thanks so much. Let's talk about this with Josh Campbell, who's a CNN security analyst, and Elena Plott-Calabro, a staff writer for The Atlantic, who has covered Kash Patel extensively. So, Josh, I want to play some sound from North Carolina Governor-elect Josh Stein talking about Kash Patel. Take a listen.
Well, I want somebody who respects the rule of law, and his nomination for the FBI does not give me confidence that that's a top priority.
So we hear a lot of Democrats and even some Republicans echoing that skepticism. What do you think the Patel appointment would mean for the FBI? Could he impact how the Bureau presses investigations?
Yeah, the director has great oversight and power as it relates to investigations. And, first, I've been talking with sources inside the FBI, many different people, and a lot of them wanted to dispel this myth that some other networks have apparently been reporting, and that's, FBI agents are scared or afraid. I mean, these are dogged people that put their heads down, they do their work. But what I am hearing is there is grave concern in two respects. The first that you just mentioned there, potential impact on investigations. In this case, someone like Patel, who, as Sarah reported, an extreme Trump political loyalist. Would he try to get FBI employees to investigate Trump's opponents? Would he try to stop any investigations that began within Trump's orbit? That is a major question. And then second, it comes down to independence. Historically, there has been this at distance that a White House would keep the FBI because this is a powerful law enforcement agency. People may not realize that the FBI doesn't brief the White House on every investigation that it conducts. And that's because a lot of times they could be investigating political opponents or political loyalists of a president. The big question here is, what will that independence look like? How would that be impacted? And then finally, I just wanted to read one line from this great insightful piece that Elena wrote recently on Patel. What she said in talking to sources around the Trump world is that people called Patel dangerous, not because he would come in on day one as FBI director or CI director with a plan, but because he appeared to have no plan at all. His priorities today always subject to a mercurial president's wishes tomorrow. That's question. How far would he go for Trump?
His plan is to fight crime. His plan is to eradicate crime. He wants to go ahead and find out what's going on in the FBI, Department of Justice. He wants to go ahead and see if these people are nefarious. If you're not nefarious, if you hold these positions at these agencies, right, and if you're not nefarious, you have nothing to worry about. The media already creating a narrative for you. They want the people to doubt. They want the people to doubt Trump's picks. They want people to doubt Trump. They want people to doubt his picks, and they're casting doubt. What I say, do your own research, do your own due diligence, find out for yourself. I like what I'm hearing about Kash Patel. I like it.
And Elena, as Sarah noted in her piece, Kash Patel wrote a book called Government Gangsters, and it's bouncing around the internet today. Tim Miller from Bulwark among the people who noticed that in that book, it lists individuals that Patel considers the quote-unquote deep state. People on the deep state list include President Biden, former Attorney General for Donald Trump, Bill Barr, Attorney General Garland, Robert Mueller, what Patel calls the, quote, entire fake news press corps, unquote. What is he going to do with this list, or is this just bombast?
I don't think that we are in a position to call anything to do with Kash Patel at this point just bombast, especially if he does end up getting this directorship. And if he doesn't, Jake, I very much suspect that Trump will find a way to install him, whether in an acting capacity or in a role that does not require Senate confirmation at the top of the American intelligence apparatus. And the reason I say that is because while the public doesn't quite know who Kash Patel is, the fact was that in Trump's first term, he came dangerously close to almost this very role. Trump really wanted to promote him at one point to deputy FBI director. Then there was deputy CIA director. I mean, various senior positions that were it not for people like CIA Director Gina Haspel or Attorney General Bill Barr, who the latter, of course, said over my dead body to the idea of Kash being promoted to deputy FBI director. Without people like that in this administration, and Trump has made clear he has no desire to install the quote unquote guardrails that populated his first administration, I don't think there's any doubt that whether it's as FBI director or some other highly powerful position, Kash Patel, we will see him try to use whatever means he has to launch, or at least try to launch, investigations into many of the people that are listed in that appendix of his book.
And you wrote over the summer, quote, should he return to the White House, there will be no Millies, Haspels, or even Barrs to restrain him as he seeks revenge against his political enemies. You're talking about Donald Trump there. Instead, there will be Patels, those whose true faith and allegiance belong not to a nation, but to one man. So let's just assume for the sake of argument that he does a recess appointment of Kash Patel, or somehow he gets through the Senate. I mean, Republicans control 53 seats in the Senate right now, so who knows? Would there be any check on Patel? Would Attorney General Pam Bondi do anything?
I can't predict that, Jake. I think especially with a role like the FBI, which, as Josh knows better than anyone, has just historically been entirely detached from partisan politics in this country. I think we really are entering uncharted territory with respect to not only what Kash Patel would do atop the FBI, but also what would it look like in terms of, if there are people who, whether it's in the GSA, if he is insistent on closing down the Herbert Hoover building and creating it as a museum to the deep state, as he has said he's going to do, J. Edgar Hoover, excuse me. I don't know what that looks like, and from GSA or other senior officials, what can they actually exercise in a Trump administration to curb perhaps some of the more extreme impulses of officials or would-be officials like Kash Patel.
Elena, Josh, thanks to both of you.
Donald.
I like what I'm hearing. Mainstream media is in shambles right now. I'm here for it, man. We don't trust you anyway. We don't trust mainstream media. So what do? We got to get both sides of the aisle, man. We got to hear. We have to hear the media on the left, and we have to hear the media on the right. And then at that point, you do your own due diligence, and you figure out for yourself. You come up with your own conclusions, man. So that's what we want to do, man. But Kash Patel, so far, I like what I'm seeing. And for those of you who have any doubt about the left mainstream media, man, I want to leave you with this classic, soon to be classic. I'm going to leave you with this.
You know what's in the air, Whoopi? Trumpism. We lost the election. Wait a minute. We lost the election. We're miserable. Half of this country is miserable. And let's just tell the truth. We hate that he won. We hate it.